You see that tornado coming? Get back to work. Good morning, Minneapolis. It's been a minute. It's so damn good to see you. You look great. How have you been? Really? You don't say. Us, amazing. Mama, it's good over here. And we'd like to kick off today's episode by saying this for the very first time in the history of Good Morning Minneapolis. Today's episode is sponsored by Fly Freak Studio, located in St. Paul, Minnesota. Fly Freak Studio is an inclusive land and air-based fitness community promoting healing through breath and movement, providing classes for aerial sling, aerial silks, flexibility, handstands, yoga, bar, and more. Click the link below to check out more about Fly Freak Studio and sign up for a class today. Today, in obvious news, 2 Los Angeles cops were fired for ignoring a robbery call and proceeding to play Pokemon Go to pursue a nearby Snorlax. This is a true story. We at Onsite Public Media contacted the Snorlax, and the Snorlax explained that they were involved in no wrongdoing, but now know what it feels like to be a black person minding their own business. Los Angeles Police Department, gotta catch them all, except for the people committing actual crime, because then we have to arrest our coworkers. Our headline story, former police officer Kim Potter has been convicted of manslaughter 1 and 2 for killing 20-year-old black man Dante Wright. Her sentencing is February 18th, and she'll face up to 15 years max behind bars. The conviction makes history in the state of Minnesota, where there have been 2 police officers successfully prosecuted within 1 calendar year. Tack on, the Minneapolis Police Union president retired. The Minneapolis police chief stated he won't be resigning with the force, and hundreds of officers throughout the state have vacated their jobs over the past 2 years. Woo, they running. Look at them run. Look at all those cops run. Check it out. You remove the statute of limitations and reopen the cases of all these other stolen lives. Hell, we might set a world record by 2023. Yeah, we're talking to you, Mark Ringenberg, Dustin Schwartz, Darcy Klun, Paul Hyun, Jason Schmidt, Dylan Schultz, Macabre Staria, Joseph Carroll. There's just so many killer cops in the state of Minnesota. Saying all the names is like doing a vocal warm-up. It's bringing me back to theater classes. I'm having flashbacks. Look, we don't have enough show to name them all, but maybe we could call the LAPD, because we got to catch them all. See what I did with that? See what I did? You like that? You didn't like that because you're a cop? Okay, never mind. While Kim Potter was busy being processed and giving this smile for her mugshot, while that was happening. Later that day in Austin, Minnesota, around 9:30 p.m., Austin police officer Zachary Gast opened fire on a black man and killed him. The victim of police brutality was 38-year-old Coco Christopher Fiafonu. News One writes, on Thursday, protesters gathered in the city of Austin, about 99 miles south of Minneapolis, to demand justice for the fatal police shooting of Coco Christopher Fiafonu, an immigrant from Togo in West Africa who cops killed in the parking lot of a convenience store on December 23rd. The official police narrative is that Fiafonu approached and threatened officers with a machete, but without any footage to corroborate those claims. No sh**. It's fascinating that when body cam or dash cam footage supports the narratives cops are telling you, they release it, and when it doesn't, they withhold all of it. Gosh, being a cop is like almost going to film school or almost getting a degree in English Lit. They have an idea of how to make up a story, but not really. Hey, look, it's Austin Police Chief David McKeegan on a new episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm sure he's telling the tale of the imaginary machete and the nowhere knife. Where is it? We had it, but we can't show it. It's a tale of wonderfully withheld information, and only Chief McKeegan can tell the tale. Just trust me, you'll have to take my word on it. Not me, but a guy I know. He might be named Zachary Gast. News One continues. After police used the tear on Fiafonu, Adaye, Fiafonu's cousin, said his cousin, Fiafonu, ran home, scared for his life. He said after police eventually left Fiafonu's residence, they came back the next day with more law enforcement back out instead of doctors from the hospital to help him. Adaye said police broke every single window in the home and put enough tear gas and smoke bombs in the house that it'll kill him. It's also important to note that the Austin Police Department initially phrased the object as a machete and then later on referred to it as just a knife, also known as the nowhere knife. And who is Zachary Gast? Well, he's seen here in the Austin Herald and the Austin PD's largest hire of 5 new police officers in October of 2019, one not being photographed. They hired officers Hannah Mueller, Sam Diggins, Jeffrey Marks, and there he is, Zachary Gast. They zoom in on that, DJ. Yep, there he is. That's Zachary Gast. That's the man who killed a black man that they'd been harassing for over a day in the deep winter of Minnesota. Just in case you're tuning in, everybody, this is Zachary Gast, cop who had been employed less than 3 years, and he's already killed a black man that he claimed had a knife. And again, no dash cam footage. No dash cam footage to back up that narrative. That's Zachary Gast, by the way, everybody. Moving on, you saw the trailer in several other cities, and now it's coming to Minneapolis and St. Paul. Vax cards present or a negative PCR COVID test within the past 72 hours of arrival are required to enter any eating establishment in the Twin Cities starting on Wednesday, January 19th. After the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry and St. Paul Mayor Melvin Carter made the decision, someone fired back, and that someone is the president and CEO of Hospitality Minnesota, named Liz Rammer. Carol Evan writes, "We are disheartened by today's announcement by Mayors Fry and Carter. We share their grave concern for the public's health and safety, ... But yet this new vaccine and testing mandate for businesses serving food and beverages adds another enormous challenge for hospitality business as our operators struggle with historic labor shortages and a stalled economic recovery. As reported in our recent survey on business conditions, once again, the burden is being placed on businesses to enforce this additional mandate, putting them at a further competitive disadvantage and in a difficult position with the public and their frontline workers." Well, the labor's there, and the people leaving or maybe realizing they don't want to be paid minimum wage to be yelled at and told that making burgers or serving burgers in a rush hour environment is a low-skill occupation. On top of the fact there's a global pandemic and being told by governing trade groups that their lives don't matter as much as their bottom line, money, is untenable. And being treated as if your life is worth less than the bottom line for a company isn't only limited to the service industry. You see the tornado coming? Why are you looking out the window? Get back to work. You tested positive for COVID, but you're asymptomatic. Get back to work. I know half the school staff is out because they're sick. Oh, man, why don't you get back to work? In the school building? Yeah. What? It's true, this is devastating news for the service industry. It really is. However, in late 2020, when proper contact tracing for COVID was happening, 21.2% of COVID cases they traced in Minnesota were by people who had visited a restaurant within 14 days before developing symptoms. This was the top indicator for tracing COVID amongst all proper contact tracing tests in Minnesota, with family get-togethers as a far away second at 6%. Minneapolis and St. Paul now join DC, Chicago, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Seattle, NYC, Bing Bong, Boston, San Francisco, and many other major cities in the United States with the same mandates. Well, if you haven't been invited to your local neighborhood signal thread, you may not have heard the news of what went down a month ago regarding Hennepin County Sheriff Dave Hutchinson.
Hennepin County Sheriff David Hutchinson's county-owned vehicle was destroyed in a drunk driving crash on December 8th. Days later, he pled guilty to a single count of driving while intoxicated in the 4th degree.
Things left out were that Hutch was leaving a law enforcement gala, was charged with carrying a pistol under the influence of alcohol, where that was continued for dismissal. Continue for dismissal means, hey, you're a regular here. That one's on the house, okay? And thankfully, no one was killed or injured when this happened. Yet, in a series of unfortunate events, this happened too.
But in this newly unsealed search warrant, it's revealed that at the scene of the crash, Sheriff Hutchinson told investigators on several occasions that he was not driving, and at one point said he had called a cab and that the cab driver was driving the vehicle.
Gosh, I feel like I've read this in a book somewhere. Oh, Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys in the case of the phantom cab driver. Gosh, I really hope that ragtag crew of kids is able to find that wily cab driver the sheriff spoke of, but no one has ever seen. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, I call this the tale of the phantom cab. This is astonishing to hear that a sheriff, the sheriff of Hennepin County, has lied to cops, and when questioned, he went full Master Shake.
That is a lie, and you are a liar for saying that.
Many are calling for the sheriff to resign, including Hennepin County Commissioner Irene Fernando. However, on-site was tipped off that the phantom cab driver was found in Los Angeles by 2 LAPD officers. And here's the sketch they released of the suspect. Here's a new thing, the one down. This entire episode in 1 minute. Mama, here we go. Let's do it for the TikTokington. 2 cops in Los Angeles were fired when they ignored a robbery call because they were searching for a Snorlax on Pokemon Go. Kim Potter was convicted of manslaughter 1 and 2 for killing 20-year-old black man Dante Wright, which makes history in Minnesota with the conviction of 2 police officers in 1 calendar year for killing people. Cops didn't waste any time the day Potter was convicted. Zachary Gast of the Austin PD shot and killed 38-year-old black man Coco Christopher Fiafonu for carrying a knife, yet haven't shown any dash cam footage to back up their story. Shocker, winter in Minneapolis is lethal and its houseless population faces evictions from the very encampments keeping them warm by this guy, the mayor. Since Minneapolis has a new city council, at least one of those city council members stood up and stood against law enforcement potentially evicting an encampment. January 19th, Minneapolis and St. Paul joined the rest of the country's major U.S. cities in demanding vax cards or a negative COVID test within 72 hours of arrival to any establishment serving food or bev. The sheriff of Hennepin County lied to law enforcement after flipping his car with a blood alcohol level of 0.13 and blamed it on a phantom cab driver. Good morning, Minneapolis. You can support us in the link below. That's the one down, mama. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're running a project where we reimagine Minneapolis City High Schools without the names of white men in their titles. And the first one we took on was Edison High School. And we all know Edison stole from Tesla, so let's just toss that name out. Welcome to the new era, Edison High School. You've now just been reimagined as the Northeast Panthers. You can purchase a Northeast Panthers tee or sweatshirt at the link below. And as we close out, we want to send our condolences and our love to the family of Mel Reeves, an activist, prolific writer, and a revolutionary who passed away on Thursday, January 6th. Mel was a beloved friend, and we will miss him immensely. Rest in power, brother, and we'll most definitely see you in the next one. That'll do it for us here at Outside Public Media. Thank you for tuning in, and please remember, justice, then peace.
They kill people who look like me because they're trying to send a message that we ain't nobody. If you can hear me, repeat after me. I